This is the Planet Reigate podcast.
Hello, this is Peter Stewart, and this is the Planet Reigate podcast. Yes, a hello, Planeteers, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, on the hills, the high streets and the heaths of Reigate, Redhill and Merstham, Buckland, Betchworth and Brockham. You may be listening at home, you may be listening in your car, you may be listening while you're out on a walk, whatever it is, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. I appreciate the loan of your ears. The episode number 32 for Saturday the 20th of April, entitled The Best Local Bluebell Woods, The Scandal at Reigate's High Trees Estate, Redhill's Young Musician and Mentor, and Reigate Volleyball Club. Yeah, that gives you a hint about what is on the way over the next little while. Yeah, our guests, we hear from Redhill musician Jamie about how he grew up in the area and went on to be a producer, his mentorship of young local people, and his hopes for invigorating the music scene in his hometown. And it's a sport you don't hear much about, but volleyball really seems to be thriving in Surrey. Lots of local groups, either based in schools or using schools for their training sessions. I've been to Dunottar School to see a session in progress and speak with Wayne and Beth, who are two of the coaches there. And also that got me thinking about Dunottar's building. It's a grand old place, isn't it? So what is the history behind it? Who built it and what happened there? Well, it turns out the owner was pretty famous back in the day. And there are several roads named after him in the area, but his life was not without sorrow and scandal. Stay tuned for the first part of that story. And the very best bluebell woods within easy reach of a pub, which sounds absolutely perfect, doesn't it? We have a top 5 from guest contributor Rachel from Eco Earlswood. In the Good Time Guide, this weekend we celebrate St George's Day in a number of ways. There's a jumble sale and a couple of spring fairs, a bluebell walk, a quiz night and the first ever community cinema screening happening locally as well. We have news of a meditation workshop, a moon ceremony and a bird watching walk, and also later on in the week ballet for the over 55s, a meet-up of a local business group, a talk about modern art, 3 comedy nights, 3 of them. It's obviously people like laughing in this area. Yeah, Redhill areas. The first ever TEDx Reigate event, new trails and tales for toddlers, street dance classes and a carnival. In the news this week, plans for homes in Merstham have been turned down. Local trains from Redhill back on track. Reigate police move across town to be based with fire and ambulance crews. A sad announcement from Simply Sports in Reigate. We mention bird boxes on Redhill Common and straw bales in Earlswood Lakes. We preview the live theatre in the castle grounds this summer and tell you about the local lad who's getting closer to a West End call-up. In sport, we feature a 100-year-old local football team which says it could close down. We've got updates from Merstham Cricket Club, girls football trials, South Park FC are extending their management team. Oh, and there's a local Skittles tournament that you could get involved with. Job opportunities at a local pub that you know so well. In travel, I give you the heads up so you can avoid the hold-ups, and I tell you the cheapest local petrol in the area as well. Plus, an appeal from our friends at Stripey Stalk. Weather from the Professor. Hasn't it been windy? And our 60-second soundscape before we go at the end of the show is from Priory Park Woods and a February evening as the sun goes down. All that and more on this week's episode of the Planet Reigate podcast.
This is the Planet Reigate podcast with Peter Stewart.
As I always say, thanks for the loan of your ears. Really appreciate it. And I'd really love it if you could subscribe to the show as well in your favourite podcast apps. If you're listening at the moment and maybe you've clicked on one of those hot links that we send out on social media during the course of the week, that's great. And if you like the show, if you can go to your podcast player and then subscribe to it, and then it's automatically downloaded for you each and every week. And perhaps give your friends a bit of a nudge as well. And you know what? It's great to see a like on social media, but if you can share that with your followers and friends, your co-workers, your neighbours, other people in your group that you go to, that's fantastic as well. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Got several messages into the Planet Reigate post bag. this week. One from Adam's Gallery, who, of course, have got that fantastic display on at the moment. The prints from the engravings, the original engravings from Alice in Wonderland and Alice Through the Looking Glass. Adam wasn't very well when I went to speak to him a week, 10 days ago, because Adam, I hope you don't mind me saying, he'd had an accident. He'd walked into something and it really hurt his ribs. So he wasn't on the greatest form. So he was by his own admission. And he was a little reticent about taking part. But I managed to, I was going to say strong arm him. You didn't want to strong arm someone who's got a problem with their ribs, but I managed to gently persuade him, and he went ahead, and Adam, I thank you for that. And he wrote to me and said, "Hi Peter, interview is great. Thank you so much. I will post it when I'm in the gallery." I almost sounded like I knew I was talking about. Adam, you sounded real, you sounded authentic, you sounded knowledgeable, and you sounded passionate about what it was that you were talking about. Now, if you want to go back and if you're thinking, oh, hold on, there's a historic exhibition in Reigate at Adam's Gallery, I need to know more. You just go to last week's episode, which was, of course, episode 31, and you'll be able to hear Adam talking about that and other items in Adam's Gallery as well. Also, let's have a look down here. Tim said, Tim featured in the show last week. He's one of the guys behind the new music nights, which happen at Reigate Priory on the first Friday of the month, and also behind the Reigate Summer Festival, which is going to be happening in the town over Father's Day weekend. And he said, thanks so much indeed for the interview. You've done a great job. It's a wonderful plug. So that's great. And we've got a few other things that Tim and I are going to be working on, I know, over the next few weeks for that. Also mentioned Eat with Isa last week. So they are setting up several events where you can go along, and if you're a bit short of money, you can go along and be fed. You can get a hot meal for you, your family, at various locations. So follow Eat for Isa. They're doing it because in memory of Isa, their son, who they lost, and they're doing it in his memory, which is really touching. Must catch up with them and find out a bit more about their story, their journey. And they posted in the week, please give this podcast a listen. You'll never know what the area has to offer if you don't. So many good things coming up. Thank you for bringing awareness and all your hard work for the community. Guys, I'm putting my hands together in that kind of emoji prayer symbol, and I really appreciate what you are doing and helping some of those people who are struggling in our area at the moment. Had another message from Kirsty. He said, thanks so much for the mention. I didn't know Reigate had a podcast, but I am now subscribed. Kirsty, thank you. Good stuff. That's what we like to hear. It's almost like you heard my plug a few moments ago. But of course, the podcast isn't just about Reigate. It's about Reigate, Redhill and Merstham, Buckland, Betchworth and Brockham, and all the other towns and villages in RH1, 2 and 3. Dave said, thanks for your help and all you do for the community. And also had a message from Mike, who sent me a message and said, your podcast is the future. I enjoyed your content. More engaging than local radio. So, Mike, thank you so much indeed for that as well. And also, thank you to Jane and Lucy, who bought me 3 coffees. Yeah, if you're thinking to yourself, actually, Pete does quite a good job, and actually I enjoy listening to the pod. It's free. Yeah, it's free. Then you may want to help me buy a coffee or two. So you can go to buymeacoffee.com/the Planet Reigate podcast, and there you can just tip me the cost of a cup of coffee. It's just a little way that you may want to help out with some of our expenses and things like that. Be really appreciative if you do that. Jane and Lucy have done just that. Bought me 3 coffees, and they said, have a couple on us. With sugar, love the podcast, and, oh, guys, get out of here. Love the sound of your voice as well. So sweet. Thank you very much indeed. And our new feature, Peter's Out. Yeah, this week I had a drink and a catch-up with a new friend in the market stores. We both discovered the roof terrace there. And how do we not know about the roof terrace? It was a little bit chilly in the week, so we just had a glance at it. No one else was up there. We went back down and sat inside. and we had our drink and catch up there. It was really good to see the ice cream van in Priory Park when I was there last Friday afternoon, enjoying the lovely weather as well. So there's a couple of things that I've been up to in and about the Planet Reigate area over the last week or so. I'm Peter Stewart. We've got so much more in our archive shows. For example, in episode 9, Tim from the Reigate Photographic Society told us more about the club. And also we went down to meet some of the team at Reigate Priory FC to hear about what makes the club so special for them. So if you're into your football or interested in photography and you think you may want to know a little bit more about those two fine organisations, then go to the Planet Reigate podcast on your favourite podcast player and go to episode 9. Later on in this week's show, before we go, at the end of the show, a natural sound from the place you know, our 60-second soundscape from Priory Park in Reigate. We've got a twofer for you. Yeah, the area's best bluebell views. We got a list of those, plus a list of pubs which are within easy walk of those woods. How about that? Plus an appeal from our friends at Stripey Stork. And who was the man who built the Dunottar school building? You'll find out before we're done in this week's episode of the Planet Reigate podcast. But first, ahead of all of that, here's what's on locally across the Planet Reigate area. It's what we call the Good Time Guide.
The Good Time Guide. Things to do and places to go on the Planet Reigate podcast.
It occurs to me I should have said before we're done, otter, shouldn't it, really? Okay, here we go then with the first part of the Good Time Guide. As you know, it comes in two parts. First of all, let's look ahead to things which are happening this weekend. And if you want to mention for your charity, your non-profit event, your group, or your exhibition, your show, your routine, your concert, whatever it happens to be, then let us know about it. Couple of weeks' notice if you can. Fill out the form you'll find at theplanetreigatepodcast.com. So, Saturday then. Forces fry up 10:30 on Saturday. Booking essential at info@garibaldiredhill.co.uk. It's to serve military personnel and veterans. It's intended to provide a social environment for those of a similar background, as well as a gateway to help for those who need it. Join us at Hawley Community Centre on Saturday 10 till 2 for the St George's Family Fun Day. Lots going on for the whole family, line dancing and a craft fair. And also there's stay and play and face painting as well. It's at Hawley Community Centre. Join us for a day of celebrations and meet our brave St George, our beautiful maidens and our not-so-fearsome dragons. Yeah, they're going to be at the Belfry Shopping Centre together with gifts and stalls Saturday 10 till 4. Sidlow WI holding a jumble sale between 2 and 4. If you've got any items, clothes, shoes, children's clothes and toys, they can be dropped off at the Village Hall Saturday morning between 11 and noon. More information, claire.minter at salfordsandsidlowpc.org.uk. And the big event is at Salfords Village Hall on Honeycrock Lane, isn't it? And free entry, cash only. More information you want, 07930 444 02. 07930 44402. Don't think there's enough digits there, is there? Okay, let's move on and also tell you about another St George's Day event. A dog show, stalls, music all day, much, much more. It's happening between 10 and 4 on Hawley High Street. This is the big one. The others are great. Go along to them if you can, but also bear this in mind too. The 7th Reigate Scouts are holding a spring fair, 10 till 2. Raffle, lots of fun, chance to meet the mayor as well. Eddie's going to be there. And see you there. I mean, literally see you there, because I will be there as well. It's at Timperley Gardens, RH1, Saturday 10 till 2. Raffle, prizes from the light, cake and biscuits stall, soak the leader, toss the ring on a bottle, hook a duck, splat the rat, Nerf gun tin can alley, that sounds good, doesn't it? Jar tombola, market stalls, food, and so much more as well. As I say, that's between 10 and 2 o'clock. There's a spring show at at 2:30. Flowers and floral arrangements, spring fruit and veg, cookery and photography, for refreshments and raffle. And there's a seed swap as well. It's at Nutfield Village Hall, Saturday from 2:30 in the afternoon. Saturday morning, these are a little bit out of order. 10 o'clock, meet Charlwood End of Glover's Road at RH6 for a bluebell walk in Glover's Wood. Bring a flask and biscuits, they say. In the evening, there's a quiz night. Gatton Community Theatre. Quizmaster Mike Fortune, great name, tickets £10 a person, includes a ploughman supper as well. Jill at gun.org to book your place. There's the first ever community cinema screening of Merstham movies at Merstham Community Hub. The film being shown is Hot Fuzz. Tickets are completely free. Completely free. Doors open at 6 o'clock, and you can book your tickets in person at the reception at the hub, or you can phone 01737 333461. Okay, there's a lot going on, isn't there, on Saturday? There's a few things going on Sunday as well. First of all, there's a meditation for beginners workshop between 10 and 11:30 at Betchworth. If you've tried meditation or apps and yoga classes, meditation sessions, all sorts of ways that you could get into it, but it's never quite worked for you, then maybe this is the workshop that you need to be involved with. You can find out how to meditate effectively and bring all those fantastic benefits like more peace and patience and better sleep, stress resilience, improved focus and so on. It's a 90-minute gentle session of learning, relaxation and meditating. If you want some more information, then go to annamizera-mindfulness.com. That's ANNAMIZERA mindfulness.com for more information. Have you been wanting ever to join a moon ceremony? Well, there's going to be one happening on Sunday. All attendees get a free gift. There's a special healing movement sequence that's gentle yet powerful, using ancient Chinese Qigong and Donna Eden energy medicine to clear your chakras, cleanse your aura and clear stress to help you feel more emotionally balanced, welcoming inner calm and connect you to your inner goddess. All sorts of things going on there. Crystal manifestations at gmail.com for more on that. You can go along to a Sunday evening adventure on Earlswood Common on Sunday. Meet at 6:15 and goes through till about 8 o'clock. You can find out about the rich bird life on Earlswood Common and its lakes from someone who really knows. Numbers are limited to 16 for the walk. Bring binoculars if you've got them, and a return to the plough afterwards is also on the cards. I see. Oh yes, I know what's going on there. Booking is required for safety reasons and also to check that you've read and accepted the conditions. It's one of those Eventbrite links, which is really difficult to give out when I'm reading it, because it's about 500 characters. So if you want some more information on that, drop me a line.
Email hello@theplanetreigate.podcast.com.
And that is your good time guide for this weekend. Don't forget the Scout event tomorrow. Best of luck for Anna, who is taking that session that I mentioned, the mindfulness session, on Sunday. And I'll be back with some more items from our good time guide for the week ahead on the Planet Reigate podcast a little bit later on in the show.
Support us at buymeacoffee.com/the Planet Reigate podcast.
On the way, it's a game played by two teams, usually of 6 players on a side, in which the players use their hands to bat a ball back and forth over a high net, trying to make the ball touch the court within the opponent's playing area before it can be returned. I'm talking about volleyball, of course, and Wayne and Beth are on in a bit, talking about their love for the sport and about their love for Reigate Volleyball Club as well. And on the way in the news, plans for homes in Merstham have been turned down. Reigate Police move across town. They're going to be based with fire and ambulance crews. And a little bit of nature for you, which we love to do on the show. We mentioned bird boxes on Redhill Common, why there are straw bales in Earlswood Lakes, and the best places in the Planet Reigate area to see bluebells. And don't forget, if you run a group or a business, if you ever need a host for an event or maybe an award ceremony or a concert or a carol service, something like that, get in touch if you do. I'll be happy to meet and discuss how I can help you. And the address, as always, is...
Email hello@theplanetreigatepodcast.com.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not quite sure what to call Jamie. He's a local musician and a composer and a producer and a music promoter as well, and a young person mentor too. And I caught up with him as he was busy moving house. So, Jamie, thanks so much for your time. Hope it all went smoothly. This is Jamie's story on the Planet Reigate podcast.
I mainly help musicians write songs, and then that sort of goes into production and mixing, and then I'm trying to get more into the community, running events, because I feel like there's not much music industry around here. I worked in London, I find lots of musicians getting screwed over, that sort of thing. So I'm trying to build more of a community around here so that musicians can essentially live off what they like doing.
Okay, all right. Now, looking around here, you are in the process of moving, so things aren't necessarily in how they would be. But I'm counting, just as a quick look, I can count probably 8 or 10, possibly 12 different musical instruments here.
Yeah. There's a clarinet, there's a piano, there's a double bass, there's a guitar, there's loads of synthesizers, an organ.
So where did your love of music come from?
I think when I was younger, I always liked being around creatives, and I'm quite a sensitive soul, so being around musicians and being creative really resonated with me. I didn't have musical parents. My mum plays a bit of guitar, but other than that, all my siblings play. Well, they're all younger, but we all just sort of got into music, so yeah.
And do you perform on stage? Do you seek the limelight or not? Because you said you were really sensitive.
No. Yeah, no, I used to.
You're more of a studio person.
Yeah, definitely. So I used to play a lot. So I used to play bass for a guy called Tom Grennan and a girl called Nila Fiangna. We went on tour around Europe. So I've done a lot. We played Brixton Academy, Shepherd's Bush Empire, and then found myself deciding that I didn't really enjoy getting in a tour van and driving around the UK and not having a place to call home. So sort of found my way more into studio work and then writing songs for people, and the mental health aspect of it as well really plays a big part.
Talk me through that, because a couple of people have said, I was speaking to someone from a choir the other day, and they were saying how helpful music is for mental health, because there's a lot going on in your brain when you're singing, when you're performing, when you're playing a musical instrument and so on. How's that helped you?
Well, I only started writing songs when I sort of started to experience mental health problems, so that played a big part in my mental health recovery. I felt I needed an outlet to be able to express my opinions and my feelings.
So when you're writing songs, these are actually the lyrics as well as the music. Is that what's helping you? More the music, so you're expressing yourself through
a feeling of like a guitar part or a bass part, or and I help with lyrics. I think everything that's been released in terms of my credits and what's been released has all been a little bit part of me. So I give that artist an experience that they wouldn't normally get. I've had quite a troubled past, so having that experience I feel resonates with artists quite a lot.
And it's really interesting. You talk about your past briefly. I won't probe, but I know that you're helping some young people in the industry, and also young people at some of the local schools as well, who perhaps don't have the greatest, the best start in life.
MCR I approached recently, and I'm looking to help them soon. I've done bits and bobs for the YMCA as well, not much, but I'm sort of looking to get involved more in the community sense. I'm developing a young artist who's doing really well.
It's that nurturing that is really interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it's because I think a lot of people sort of expect themselves to work in music and then suddenly they're working with A-list celebrities, but it takes a long time to nurture that relationship with them in the first place. And I feel like that's really important. And developing a sound is really exciting, and getting involved in the artist and how they want to sound. And I feel like with my skills and being able to play so many instruments, I can sort of get involved in in that aspect quite a lot, if that makes sense. I've always thought you have to focus on the music. That's, you know,
that's the creative bit.
That's the main part. And I think all these bands, you can look at Radiohead, they don't do any social media. There's so many other bands, all the Strokes, the Kooks, they don't do much social media because they built their career on the music. And I think that's where a lot of young artists struggle. They think they've got to do all their creative social media posts and TikToks and whatever, but actually at the end of the day, you're in the music industry, you want to work on the music, and I think that's the most important part.
Yeah, you've got to fish where the fish are, as the saying goes, and play to your strengths.
Yeah.
Quite literally, play your musical instrument to your strength.
Yeah, literally.
You mentioned Tom Grennan.
Yeah.
I think I've heard of him. Tell me about that story.
I grew up in Nutfield and then went to college in Reigate College, and then I moved to London when I was 18. I was working in a studio whilst I was in college, and then on the train home I met this young chap. He was managing a young guy called Tom Grennan, and there was another guy playing guitar, and I was like, oh, he sounds good. And I was like, oh, I'm a producer. I was just working with London Grammar's producers at the time, and then we just started connecting, and he introduced me to Tom, and then we used to write tunes. We did a lot of demos, and then he got signed, and is now Tom Grennan, the superstar.
Wow, that sounds great. It's interesting you say that, because doing a bit of research for this interview, you've got a few YouTubes up, which I've looked at.
Interviews.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of them was a training session. I think, was it with guys at Reigate College? Was it?
Yeah.
And one of your top tips was network. You've got to introduce yourself. You've got to shake hands. You've got to say who you are. You've got to be politely persistent.
100%. I mean, I used to chat to people on the tube in London, which is strictly forbidden. And go, hey, what are you up to? What's going on in your life? And then if they're a musician or not, I was able to sort of build that creative communication with people, and I think that's really important.
There's often that dichotomy, isn't there, with musicians, because you spend an awful lot of time by yourself composing and moving things around the computer and playing on a guitar or whichever musical instrument and rehearsing for hours and hours and hours on end, and then perhaps you go into a studio to mix and get down the final version, whatever that happens to be, and then hopefully you kind of want to be on stage in front of tens, hundreds, thousands of people. So you're going from by yourself to thousands of people. Not many people are comfortable with both sides of that.
And I've started to realise a bit more, enjoy the small moments as well. I've met celebrities who have gone that far and then come back, and that drive for fame is only a small instance anyway if you're lucky to become famous. So if you enjoy music, I think that's the main part. I think if you've got a super passion for it, if you love what you do, I think that just resonates with people anyway. You have that connection because they can sense your passion perhaps coming through your music and how you perform it. Yeah.
As well as your own music, you like playing other people's. You perform down at the Light.
So I DJ at the Light every other week. Yeah, that's great fun. Yeah.
What do you reckon to the Light?
It's cool, it's good fun.
I've not heard anyone say a bad thing, apart from one person I interviewed who was, with respect to her, I would suggest she's probably in her 80s, and said, right, I don't like it, but then it's not really for me. And I said, well, hold on, there's food there. You like food? There's a cinema there. You like film? Yeah. So she kind of came round. It's good, It's good. Yeah, I think it's great for the Redhill community. I think everyone needed a bowling alley and a cinema, and I'm excited to see how it progresses. We're actually talking about potentially putting on some live music there as well. Which comes full circle to how we started this, and your passion for young people and the music scene in this neck of the woods. What do we need to be looking out for? What other ideas do you have to kind of promote that and to help that kind of scene in this area?
So I think a proper music venue is essential. I think there's pubs that are putting on little live music events and stuff, but you've got Guildford with the Boiler Room, you've got Tunbridge with the Forum. Redhill needs a music venue, and that's something I'm thinking about and I've been talking to friends about.
Watch this space.
Yeah, definitely.
And you know what? I've mentioned Jamie's name to several people across the area over the last, since I've done that interview with him, and several people went, oh yeah, I know Jamie. Oh yeah, good guy. Really involved with the local music scene, and also I think he's going to be involved with the Reigate Summer Festival over Father's Day weekend in a few weeks' time. How vibrant it is, what a fantastic community it is across the Planet Reigate area of Reigate, Redhill and Merstham, Buckland, Betchworth and Brockham. The business, the sport and the arts are such a great combination that make this area what it is today. And we love to reflect that on the Planet Reigate podcast. I'm Peter Stewart. Thank you for the loan of your ears. Still to come in sport, we're featuring Merstham Cricket Club, girls football trials and South Park FC as well. There's a job opportunity at a pub on a heath. Yeah, you can probably guess which one I may be talking about. In travel news, do you ever use Russ Hill, the Russ Hill Road area? Big roadworks on the way. I'll give you the heads up so you can avoid the hold-ups. And also I'll tell you the cheapest local petrol in the area as well. Travel and weather and hidden treasure together on the Planet Reigate podcast. And that all comes up after our news sequence right here, right now. Yeah, plans to turn a derelict former library in Merstham into affordable homes have been thrown out. So Reigate and Banstead Borough Council rejected the idea for 11 shared occupancy properties on the site over the impact it would have on a shared access road. So you can probably picture where I'm talking about, can't you, on Weldon Way. So the football club and Age Concern Centre both use Weldon Way for access. And the council's planning committee heard that using the road for the new homes would have too great an impact on those two groups and therefore potentially cause problems with their new neighbours. And the access road is also used as the emergency evacuation point for elderly people. So, as I say, you can probably picture the building, single-storey brick building, used to be a library, closed back in 2017, my research told me, when the branch was relocated, as we know, to Merstham Community Hub. Now, the homes, had they been built, would have been in two pairs of semi-detached two-storey buildings and two terrace rows, one with 3 homes and one with 4. They would have been next door to a surgery, an age concern day centre and a community hall and Merstham Rec. But as I say, councillors rejected the plans on the grounds that the layout, the dominance and shared access would result in a cramped overdevelopment that was harmful to the community. More on the BBC website. So we told you before about the line closure for trains between Redhill and Tunbridge. Well, after a couple of weeks, the line reopened on schedule last Monday, but more strengthening work is going to take place on that stretch following a landslip. So it had been closed since the Easter weekend after the landslip at Bow Beach Embankment. Engineers have already installed 91 sheet piles and strengthened the railway embankment over a 100-metre long section. Soil nails underpinning the railway. I don't think I've ever come across the two words soil nails before, but I can kind of picture what they are. Network Rail says the landslip was caused by climate change, with last winter being one of the wettest on record. Network Rail says its engineers are going to stay on site to continue work in the area, but train services are not going to be affected. It's all a big move. Yeah, they've been putting things in cardboard boxes down at Reigate Police Station. They've moved the other side of town to Ray Park. You remember we've mentioned several times now the discovery of that rack, the reinforced autoclaved aerated concrete at the police station, the library, and also the Harlequin, famously the Harlequin as well, back in September of last year. And they found a new base, reasonably temporarily, at St David's House at Ray Park. It's going to be there for 18 to 24 months with the police sign over the front door. It's while the force considers longer-term plans for police services in Reigate and Banstead, but also right across the Eastern Division of Surrey Police, so that, if memory serves, the Eastern Division for Reigate Police is Reigate and Banstead, obviously, Tandridge, obviously, and then also Mole Valley, which you might not have expected, but you might have done, but also Epsom and Youghal as well, which is perhaps a little bit surprising, but all of that is East Surrey for the Eastern Division for Surrey Police, as I say. So, they're going to be on Surrey Fire and Rescue land. It's quite convenient, isn't it? Even more convenient is that they're going to be right next door to the fire HQ, as you know, but also an ambulance station there as well. and that means that 3 emergency services are all together. Police public-facing front counter services, so if you actually want to call in because you need to hand over a driving licence, or you need to ask a question or hand something in or collect something or whatever, that's actually at Caterham Police Station. It hasn't been at Reigate Police Station for several months now because it's a bit difficult for the public to actually get into that location at Ray Park. So still go to Caterham for Reigate Police Station, and Reigate Police Station itself isn't there, it's at Ray Park. I'll be asking questions later on in the show. Reigate Priory FC have got some sad news. They say, we're aware that a group of young adults visited our football ground up at Nethen in the week, smashed windows and caused damage to our clubhouse. If you've got any idea who caused the damage, please get in contact with us, they say. We have video and photo evidence. Susie got in touch with me in the week. Hi, Susie. She said, hi, Peter. I hope you're well. I saw your talk at the latest Redhill Business Guild. Very captivating. Was it? I'm not sure I've been called captivating before, but it's nice to know. Thank you so much. But yeah, I know Susie because I interviewed her at the Reigate and Banstead Business Awards when they won Best Employer. And she says, I'm an avid listener of the podcast. Well, I like the idea about that. Thank you so much indeed. Anyway, the point of this is, that's me saying the point of it, not Susie. She said, I wanted to let you know that at the Plan Group, which Susie's very high up. She's very high up at the Plan Group. She says, we've sponsored a subscription for Votes for Schools at Reigate College again this year. She said, I'm not sure if you've heard of Votes for Schools, but it's an education programme that aims to engage younger people in democracy and current affairs by providing them with opportunities to discuss and debate important issues. It involves providing schools with resources like lesson plans, discussion materials and activities centred around a particular topic or question. Students then have the chance to express their opinions, learn about different perspectives and vote on the issue, and all of this, of course, just before a general election. So she says, please can you mention this on the Planet Reigate podcast? More than happy to do that, Susie. She says it might hopefully encourage other businesses to sponsor Votes for Schools at other primary and secondary schools or colleges in the area. More than happy to do that. That's exactly the kind of thing we're here for. If you want some more information about how Susie got involved, then it's Susie with an S, or 2 S's actually, one at the front, one in the middle, susie.wilson at theplangroup.co.uk, or you can contact Kate at Votes for Schools, and her email address is kate@votesforschools.com. And if you didn't know, Plan Insurance Brokers is an independent, market-leading commercial insurance brokerage, and they're on London Road there, right opposite Memorial Park on the A23, on the left, just going up towards the college. It's one of those places that you pass and you glance at it and someone says, you know where they... I do know where they are, absolutely, yeah. Nominations for Reigate and Banstead Volunteer Awards 2024 have opened. It recognises the unrewarded heroes and volunteers in the area for their selfless service. 5 categories, let's count them off. Young Volunteer Award, if you're between 16 and 25. Volunteer Award, if you're over 25. Individual Trustee Award, so if you're a chairman, a treasurer, or you're in a secretary role. Volunteer Team Award and Long Service Award, if you've done more than 10 years. If you want to nominate, you can visit the council's website with another really, really long email address. So you know what I always say, get in touch with me and I'll give you the details so you can get in touch with them.
Email hello@theplanetreigatepodcast.com.
And the closing date for noms is Friday 31st of May. Well, Simply Sports on Reigate High Street passed on some sad news during the course of the week. They say, we're very sad to announce the passing of David Pointer, father of the managing director Adrian Pointer and chairman of Simply Sports from its inception in 1986 through until 2016. Simply Sports, of course, on Reigate High Street, just short of, or just after, the Old Town Hall, looking at it from the way that you would drive, just after on the right-hand side, they've got that very famous figure of the running human being in the front window, haven't they? That they say in this message, David worked tirelessly in supporting the business, especially in the early years, and was a master at spotting the changes that were happening in business ahead of the pack. He was an early adopter of the digital age, and he understood the opportunities that online trading could bring. He'll be very much missed. However, his legacy will live on and remain for many years to come. Our thoughts are with Adrian and family and friends of David Pointer, who's passed away. As I say, he was the MD at Simply Sports in Reigate High Street. Now we finish off this section of the news bulletin here on the Planet Reigate podcast with an appeal from Jane from Stripey Stalk. She's been in touch with this month's appeal from the Reigate-based Baby Bank.
Hi, it's Jane from Stripey Stalk, and we're putting out an urgent call for any school uniform that you might have. We're looking for unbranded jumpers and cardigan, any greys, trousers, shorts, skirts, pinafore dresses, white shirts, long sleeve and short sleeve, polo shirts, especially white, but also in blue and yellow. If you have any gingham summer dresses in all sizes, we would be really grateful for those. We also provide PE kits for children across Surrey, so PE shorts and plain coloured t-shirts in any colours would also be really appreciated. We take school shoes, particularly in black, in all sizes. We're looking for these clothes in all sizes up to the age of 18. Please book a slot on our website. Thank you.
Okay, not a problem at all, Jane. Always happy to help our friends over there at Stripey Stalk. And talking about charities, Hidden Treasure this week's top bargain from Julie at the Children's Trust in Bell Street in Reigate on the way. And of course, travel and weather together. But next, the sport on the Planet Reigate podcast.
From Reigate and Redhill, Buckland, Betchworth and Brockham. Great stories from places you love and people you know. This is the Planet Reigate podcast.
And also, of course, on the way, we've got that story about the person who built the building that Dunottar School is now in. It's an intriguing tale. I've really loved it and enjoyed researching that. Bring you the first part of that two-part series a little bit later on in today's show. So sports news, we start off with some sad news about Brockham Badgers Football Club. Yeah, the Badgers have always had a really strong, dedicated team of volunteers to run the club, but it now needs a new team to take it forward because the current committee is standing down, and they say without a committee, the club inevitably is going to fold. So, do you love football? Do you want to help kids develop? Do you want to give back to the community? Could you be the next chairman or secretary? Just a couple of hours each week, they say, is all it takes, and the roles could be shared. There are more roles available if you want to get involved. And you can get in touch with Martin Banks if you reckon this is for you, whether or not you live in Brockham. Info at Brockham Badgers, great name, Brockham Badgers, fc.co.uk. Let me say all that again. Info at Brockham Badgers fc.co.uk for more information. And Martin says, please give your time to help local children and help keep the club alive. Grassroots football is a vital outlet for so many young people. It is, isn't it? As we all often show on our sports section of the Planet Reigate podcast, so many thriving local sports clubs. And I wonder if maybe there are some people at some of the other local sports clubs, and football clubs in particular, who maybe want to develop their skills in a slightly different area. Maybe it's a bit like business sometimes, isn't it? Maybe you can't rise up and you can't actually get the coaching or the managerial or the treasurership or the committee role that you want where you are because other people are staying there. Maybe you can go down the road and help out a Brockham. I don't know, just a suggestion there. Or maybe some of the clubs can share some of their expertise or some of their staff. There could be something here. If that does happen, please let me know about it, and I'll obviously sing your praises on the Planet Reigate podcast. Or calling all girls. Do you want to join a Reigate Hawks football team? Trials are taking place at Reigate School. Under 11 team members needed, and you can try out for all the other age groups as well. It's a friendly club, they say. Just come along and give it a go. So registration 5:45 till 6. And that is happening on Wednesday the 1st of May for the under-14s and 15s, Monday the 13th for the under-12s, Tuesday the 14th for the under-13s, Wednesday the 15th for the under-11s, and Thursday the 16th of May for the under-10s, and then an under-16s trial on Thursday the 25th of April, slightly different times, 6:45 for that one. So if you're interested in that, then you know where to go. And if you want some more information on that, of course, give me a shout and I'll pass those on. Under 10 trials for Redhill FC. They want to invite young football players to join their club for the upcoming 24-25 season. And this is all going to be happening at the Battlebridge playing fields in Merstham on the 20th of May, between 5:45 and 7. So if you want to sign up, mvcoaching121@gmail.com, mvcoaching121@gmail.com, and you can contact Mark with all the details and he'll get back in touch with you. South Park Reigate FC, they're looking to grow their management team by recruiting for a player support manager. So do you love the game? Do you want to be a part of a hard-working group? It could be your first role in football. It could be a new avenue to explore in your football career. Not directly a coaching role, but there will be opportunities to lead sessions for players in small groups or individually. Do you want some more information? Is that tickling something in you? info@southparkfootballclub.co.uk. info@southparkfootballclub.co.uk. From football to cricket, maybe you played years ago and fancy getting back into it. Well, why don't you go and join Merstham Cricket Club on Quality Street? I always love the name of Quality Street. On Thursday the 25th of April, so next Thursday, 6:30 to 8, fun and friendly softball taster sessions, and you can stay for a drink afterwards and also free pizza. What's not to love? Our women's team, they say, was established 4 years ago. We're looking to grow it. We're a friendly group of women who love playing, but the emphasis is very much on fun and enjoyment. This season we have 1 hardball and 2 softball teams entered in leagues, and our T2 softball side is designed for anyone new to cricket, so there's something for everyone. So, are you interested in that? Maybe you've got a daughter or a sister or a mum or an aunt or anyone else who is interested. Ali Rustage would like to hear of your interest. She is at ALI for Ali, ALI, and then Rustage is RUSTIGE. Ali Rustage at gmail.com, 07881 912 985. From football to cricket to skittles. Nothing if not varied. Charlwood Community Volunteers have a Skittles tournament Saturday the 15th of June. Yeah, we're working ahead here. At Charlwood Rec, Skittles is a traditional lawn game. It's been played for centuries in rural villages throughout England, so they say it's only fitting we should be played in our medieval village as well. £24 per team of 6 people. You need to register in advance, which is why they've given me advance information. Details, Charlwood Community Events at gmail.com. They've got a licensed bar and a barbecue. It's going to be a great opportunity, they say, to pit your skittling skills against your friends and family during the course of the afternoon. Games begin at 2, live music, and they say please register in advance, and those details again are Charlwood Community Events at gmail.com. Going back now to cricket, and indeed Merstham Cricket Club. They're getting a couple of mentions this week, and also, you know what? They are our guests. I'm just looking up on my scheduling board. Yeah, they are our special guests in next week's show. So, Merstham Cricket Club, they say food vans are wanted for Friday night training from April to the end of July, around 250 most nights. So it's going to be a good trade, they say. They're looking for bands, musicians, and that they would really like to know if you are interested in bringing down your food vans to sell food to people. Well, there's something on a plate for you, isn't it? Appropriately, chairman at mersthamcc.co.uk, or you can contact Richard 07896 114 068. Do you know someone in the catering business? Do you know somebody that has a food van or can set something up which is similar? It could be anything, couldn't it? Kind of, the street food stuff, the pizza, it could be the cold stuff, the hot stuff, maybe the drinks as well. Get in touch with Richard. He'll give you the full SP on 07896 114068. Football, cricket, fancy a bit of volleyball? And it's a sport you don't hear much about, but volleyball really seems to be thriving here in Surrey. Lots of local groups either based in schools or using schools for their training sessions. I've been to Dunottar School to see a session in progress and speak with Wayne and Beth, who are two of the coaches for the Reigate Volleyball Club.
My name's Wayne Clark. I'm the head coach here at Reigate, and I've been playing volleyball, I've been involved in volleyball for about 54 years.
Beth Gill. Well, I've been playing volleyball for my whole life. I'm the team captain for the ladies. I stopped for 20 years, and then when I found this Reigate club online, well, I thought, well, why not?
Tell me about the group. When did it start? What's the kind of history to it?
Long before my time there. So it was born out of the demise of a club in Croydon, and I joined the club about 10 years ago, and there were 7 of us, and it was pretty tough. And me and the other people that were around then have grown the club into about 50 or 60 people and 4 teams.
Wow, 4 teams, so it seems pretty successful.
Yeah, I mean, Surrey's volleyball is growing generally. There's hundreds of youngsters play at Ashcombe, and Spelthorne have teams in every league, including the National League. So the sport's fairly buoyant in Surrey, and we benefit from that buoyancy, if you like.
Doesn't seem to get as much exposure, perhaps, as some of the other sports.
We're lucky it's buoyant, but, all minority sports struggle to get airplay at time, viewing public, attracting sponsorship. All that makes running an amateur sports club difficult, regardless of the sport, and volleyball's no different.
Okay, well, hopefully we'll give you a bit of publicity on the podcast, which is obviously a good thing. That's what we're here for. What do people get out of it? What do you get out of playing the sport?
Having played since I was at school, it is a brilliantly friendly sport. Even at the height of good competition, the sportsmanship after the game is on a par with rugby. We respect the other players, we respect the coaches. The players aren't allowed to speak to the referee. Only the captain can speak to the referee. So it's a very respectful game. And you grow friends from teams you played against many years ago, and you end up playing in the same club with them many years later. So it's a very friendly sport.
And it seems quite a kind of a hard, physically hard sport, surprisingly perhaps, is it?
Yeah, I mean, to play top-level volleyball, if you get a long rally, it is absolutely draining. They're jumping all the time. You spend most of the time scrambling around in the backcourt and throwing yourself on the floor to keep the ball up, and then in the next minute you're trying to bash the ball over a net that's 8 foot high. So,
I was going to say, so you need the strength in your legs, but also in your arms and your hands as well, don't you?
I think you need a fair amount of stamina. It's not like long distance running, that sort of stamina. It's like doing the
stopping and
400
starting,
metres.
and you're twisting and turning and jumping
it's
and moving.
A sprint with some distance, if you know what I mean. It's that sort of body type and fitness you need.
And tell me how many people are on a team, and what your different leagues and ages are, things like that.
We have got a junior section that comes through the school here with young players, right up to, I think, 67 is our oldest player. That's men and women. There's 6 of them on court at any one time, 12 in the team, and you can substitute the other 6 on and off throughout the game. I've got 60-odd people that are nice people and get along. We've got ex-badminton players, ex-hockey players, ex-rugby players, footballers. I got into it because I played rugby before, and getting cold, wet and muddy on a Sunday morning wasn't that as nice as coming into a warm sports hall and staying clean and dry. lots of people play it for different reasons. That was mine. And
I like that answer. That's really good. You mentioned men and women's team. Beth is with me from the women's team as well. How successful are your teams?
My team, at the moment, we are just few players, but we managed last season to train very, very hard. The girls were very constant, they tried their best, and we were really, really pleased. Our hard work, it was very rewarding to win the league. Yeah.
Wayne was saying how physically demanding it is. So does that mean that you're kind of on a par with the men, or are there slightly different rules? Or I mean, the net is a little lower for a start, isn't it?
Yeah, the rules is the same for men and women, for children as well. And the net, for the ladies is lower than men. It doesn't mean that our power is less. No, because some women play also with the boys and they can jump as high as boys. But yeah, it is very tiring. You know, sometimes the rallies are very long but you have to be there. But that's why we train, you know.
But it's not just strength, it's also tactics as well that you've got to bear in mind.
Yeah, you really need to think a lot. I have a lot of experience playing volleyball, and I usually watch videos and we film the matches, and then at home I study all the matches, all our mistakes, the opponent's mistakes, so then I prepare my strategies, and then the girls are very clever ladies, and they take the tactics very quick.
Is this something that's taught in schools? I know you're from Peru, and you were saying that it's really, really big in Peru, so perhaps was taught more in schools there, and also in Germany and Poland as well, you were saying as well. But I'm guessing here in Surrey, you're more likely to be taught something like netball, are you, rather than volleyball?
Netball is now very fashion, I would say, even more than volleyball, but well, I don't know. I think there is a lot of netball teams.
I'm just wondering if more young women are coming into volleyball after perhaps trying out netball, not for them, and then want something else.
When I was little, I tried basketball, but I always went for volleyball. These three boys, for example, over there, when they joined the team, I think they weren't that great like they are right now, and they love it. They probably try in the past some other sports, but they just stay on volleyball, and they really like it. Yeah.
Those balls sound really kind of loud. Are they more similar to basketballs, are they? They seem quite heavy from the sound they're making.
There is a lot of communication when you are playing. You really need to shout very loud to make your colleagues listening and to let them know that you are there, you're going to get the ball, And it's about cheering as well. It's a very good strategy to make the opponents fear. When you just step on the court, saying, let's go, come on! The opponent kind of, okay, they're really loud.
So that's part of your strategy?
It's part of strategy, definitely. Okay. Yeah, that works a lot,
And okay, we spoke to Wayne earlier about the men's team, and you're from the women's team, but they do interact, don't they? You can have so mixed teams, yeah?
It's a mixed team, but my sessions is only ladies.
obviously, if you want to get better at sport, the best way to do it is to play against people, play with people
who are just that bit better.
Bigger, faster, stronger, whatever. So what we do is we have some of the younger men train with the ladies team, and it gives them, in training, a level of opposition that they're unlikely to meet in a game. And the same for the guys. You want the junior players to train with the better players as soon as is reasonable for them to do so. The three lads you see there joined the club at 15. They're now 16, 17. They're at college now. They don't go to the school here. But they came through the school here. And Alvaro, who's one of the coaches sitting down over there, he's a member of staff at the school, and he takes volleyball in the school. I learnt at school. My PE teacher was into volleyball, we learnt to play volleyball. So the thing that gets young people involved is either media exposure, they see it and they think, well, I'm going to go and try that, or someone around them or their school gets them interested. We have a lot of players come to Britain to work, and if they're French or German or Italian, they might seek out the local volleyball team. They might know no one else in London or in Surrey, but immediately they join the club, they've got a group of friends and a social life.
It's that exposure, isn't it? You've got that common thread. You've got something to talk about and socialise people with.
What the language is, so we have a lot of players that come here and work here for a couple of years or come and study here, will join the local volleyball club. For anyone in Britain that wants to play volleyball, come and join the local volleyball club. You've got a group of mates that you'll have fun with. and enjoy the sport with.
Beth, tell me what volleyball does for you. What do you get out of it?
Volleyball is my passion. I don't imagine my life without volleyball. I think I'm going to play volleyball, or at least teach volleyball until my last days. Yeah, I love volleyball. It's a very good exercise, keeps you fit, keeps you healthy. And if it's something that you really want to do, you really enjoy it. It's about socializing with people as well. You make friends. You forget all your problems when you are playing volleyball.
Well, that sounds like a good advert. Wayne, finally, how do people get involved? How do they contact you?
So we've got a website, we've got a Facebook presence. I've got a couple of our ladies that make sure that there's plenty of information, plenty of photos and comments and photos and games that are shown on there. If you want to get involved, look up Reigate Volleyball Club, drop us an email and we'll tell you where to come and how to get here and what's involved.
And again, so it's men and women, it's boys and girls, and from what kind of age?
We can take players from about 15, but if you're under 15, still contact us and we'll point you in the right direction of a club that has a junior development squad. There's room for everybody to play.
There's Wayne, also Beth as well, down at Reigate Volleyball Club. Really impressed when I went to see them. Guys, thank you for making me feel so welcome. The power, the speed, the ball control as well, all very impressive down at Dunottar School on a Tuesday night. And you know what? As I made my way to the sports hall, I got thinking about the main building that I was walking past and realised how little I knew about it. I mean, has it always been a school? Who built it? Why? Well, turns out the owner was pretty famous back in the day, and there are several roads named after him in the area as well. But his life was not without sorrow, scandal, and controversy. So, now, let's go back in time on the Planet Reigate podcast, and part one of our story of Mr. Walter Blandford Waterlow. Let me take you back to 1819, when Walter Blandford Waterlow was born. The Waterlows are one of the wealthiest and most influential families in the City of London during the Victorian and Edwardian eras. He married Rebecca Stones on the 27th of September 1842, at which time he was a law stationer with the family firm, and they lived in London. But in 1863, Walter bought High Trees Farm on Earlswood Common, together with around 26 acres of land, to form his country estate, and built the elegant, large mansion High Trees. And of course the area is still called the High Trees Estate. An 1892 sale advert in the Times gives us a very full description of Walter's property and its grounds. It says it was most charmingly situated on the ridge of a hill, sheltered from the north by the noble ranges of Reigate Hills, with lovely uninterrupted views over a vast expanse of country. The imposing mansion is built of stone in the Italian style, is finished and fitted throughout with every modern convenience and a minute regard to taste and comfort. A noble central hall, 21 feet square, supporting a gallery above with arched lantern roof, a lady's boudoir, 8 principal bed and dressing rooms, some with elliptic ceilings, and a coach house for 5 carriages. There was also a well-arranged model farm, and unusually the public were granted use of the roads which went across the estate. And during the later 1860s, Walter and his brother Alfred gave land and money in support of development of the Reigate Grammar School, which obviously is much older, first established back in 1675. In 1882, Walter and one of his neighbours fought to keep the rights of commoners to have free access to the Redhill and Earlswood Commons nearby, embodied in a private Act of Parliament in 1884. So that meant that a board of 11 conservators was set up with Walter as chairman, and they laid out the walks and planted trees and enlarged a pond for public bathing and winter skating. Hey, thanks Walter. But then, tragedy struck. And I'll tell you what happened next in the next edition of the Planet Reigate podcast next week.
The Good Time Guide. Things to do and places to go on the Planet Reigate podcast.
So part 2 of the Good Time Guide for events happening during the week. Next week in the Planet Reigate area. Don't forget, if you want your event mentioned, let us know about it via the planetreigatepodcast.com and the form you'll find there, or you can email us in the usual way at the usual address.
Email hello@theplanetreigatepodcast.com.
Not been sent anything for Monday, but for Tuesday, Natalie wrote to me and said, "Hello, I run a Silver Swans ballet class at the Coleman Redland Centre. Tuesdays 11:30 to 12:30. It's a low-impact ballet class aimed at those over 55 and can help to improve balance, mobility, coordination and posture. It's also a wonderful social activity. I wondered if you might be able to mention this class on your podcast and spread the word." And Natalie said, "One of my swans actually told me about the podcast, so I'll make sure the others know as well." So many thanks, Natalie. That's great. And if you are one of the swans listening to this now and go, that's me, I would love to thank you in person and give you a name check. I don't know, but thank you ever so much, because the podcast kind of grows, obviously, through social media, but obviously it's word of mouth as well. And I often say on the show, please recommend us, please tell us, please talk about us to your friends, your family, your relations, your neighbours. You know, you just kind of slip it into conversation if you want to. Just, oh yeah, I heard, where did I hear about that event? I heard about it on this great new podcast. Have you heard a Planet Reigate podcast? Yeah, it covers Reigate, Redhill, Merstham, Buckland, Betchworth, Brockham. And just kind of slip it in. Or you can be really overt and you can just go round and knock on their door and say, look, I understand, you get the idea. Okay, sorry. Back to what the Silver Swans ballet class. If you want some more information on that, it's liveloveperform.co.uk or email Natalie at liveloveperform.co.uk. That's the Silver Swans ballet class for the over 55s, 11:30 to 12:30, Tuesdays at the Coleman Redland Centre. Nothing for Wednesday either. Well, it's been a busy weekend. People are recovering this coming week. Thursday the 25th, members of RH Networking meet between 7 and 9 at Hawley Cricket Club. A couple of speakers are going to be talking about what they're involved with there. And it's, if you haven't heard of RH Networking, well, it's a group for face-to-face and online networking for business owners, directors, managers, and anyone who wants to meet other professional people. So if you're thinking, actually, I run a small business and it might be really handy for me to get together in a room and know other people who may be able to help me, rhnetworking.co.uk is where you need to go and have a word with Dan, and I may see you there on Thursday night. Yeah, don't just rock up, you've got to go via Dan, obviously, but he'll sort you out. He'll point you in the right direction and let you know. And also, in time, you get a smart badge as well. The Arts Society Reigate say they bring people together through a shared curiosity in the arts, and they've got an event going on, and it's at 2:00. Reigate Park Church, Park Lane East. And the talk this month on Thursday the 25th is the post-war visionaries of modern art. Yeah, post-war, the world of fashion, interiors and modern art fused with dynamic results. And this lecture considers the role fashion and textiles played in democratising modern art. Several comedy events going in across the area this week. First of all, Radio Marsden, the hospital radio station for the Marsden Hospital, is going to be back at Reigate Manor Hotel on Thursday for another big night of comedy. They say we've got another fantastic lineup booked for an evening that'll be filled with fun and laughter. Come and join us for a great night out. Help keep Radio Marsden on air and entertaining the patients of the Royal Marsden Cancer Hospitals. Everyone up there at the, well, you don't need me to tell you, but everyone up there at the Royal Marsden, at the hospital and the Institute for Cancer Research, based on that huge site up there, which is developing all the time, is that they do fantastic work. I've had the opportunity to have a little look round on more than one occasion. fortunately also visit people up there who've been in some of the wards as well, but also to have a look around their research area and so on. Great work. And if you can help Radio Marsden by going along to their charity comedy night, then, well, everyone's a winner, aren't they? Reigate Manor Hotel on Thursday night. And you can get some more tickets. radiomarsden.co.uk/comedy. Starts at 7 o'clock and it's £15 to get in. Katie Tomlinson tells about the first ever TEDx event. Now, if you don't know about TEDx events, these are presentations, really short presentations from people on stage who talk without notes, and they're really passionate and really knowledgeable about the area in which they are speaking. So, this event, the first ever in Reigate, is a worldwide organisation, TEDx, all right? It's called Disruption, and the event's going to be hosted by Christian Foley, who uses disruption in his craft to engage more effectively. And the speaker lineup is, as well as Christian, Aletha Shepherd, Alicia Espinosa, Alistair Humphreys, Chris Thomason, Mark Totman, and others as well. So Thursday at 6 o'clock, Dunottar School, £19 a person, only 100 tickets available. And the website is tedxreigate.com. That is TED, letter X, Reigate.com. Friday the 26th of April, Gatton Park has a programme of trails and tales for younger children. I love that. Tales and trails. Visit our website for more information and to book gattonpark.co.uk. So what's it all about? Well, Friday the 19th, if you're lucky enough to be hearing this programme, quick sticks on the day it goes to air. The Snail and the Whale. Friday the 26th, 10 Little Unicorns. Friday the 3rd of May, Cave Baby by Julia Donaldson. 10th of May, Three Little Pigs. And the 17th of May, Detective Dog by Julia Donaldson as well. Julia Donaldson, you can't go too far wrong with her, can you, as far as kids' books go? Details and bookings, gattonpark.co.uk. Street dance classes. Mentioned some ballet for the over 55s earlier, didn't we? Street dance classes for all ages at Donnings. Lana Avis is a professional street, hip-hop, break dancer and choreographer with over 20 years' experience. And she used to run, I recognise the name, she used to run Reigate and Banstead's Star for a Night show, didn't she? And also Lana's performance and choreography work has taken her all over the world. She's been involved with the Royal Variety Show, the Black Eyed Peas, Dizzy Rascal, Muller, PlayStation and Calvin Klein. So if you want to learn some tips about hip-hop and urban dance, then Donnings is the place to go. If you're between 5 and... Well, I don't need to give you all the details, do I? Because it's quite involved with the different age groups and the different times and so on. But urbanplay@outlook.com is where you need to go. 07914 113 942. Reigate School of Ballet and Commercial Dance. Their summer term is starting. They say come along and join us for 2 free trials and be part of our really exciting and well-known big show. Classes for 18 months to 18 years in ballet, tap, modern jazz, street, contemporary, acro and musical theatre with the most established dance school in the area. 2 free trials. Info at ReigateDanceCentre.com. I can picture ballet and I can picture tap and modern jazz and street and contemporary and musical theatre. I don't know what acro is. Do you think I need to go along? I'm over 18. The Comedy Cottage is on again Friday. Tickets £13. It's at the pop-up in the Belfry. And if you want some more tickets for that, harlequintheatre.co.uk. Saturday, even more comedy, courtesy of Bletchfest's annual April Comedy Nights, which is going to be headlined by TV's Hal Cruttenden. There's a fully licensed bar, plenty of free parking, another hilarious evening of great stand-up comedy. Bletchfest Comedy Night, Saturday, April 27th. Doors open at 7 o'clock at the Village Hall there in Bletchingley. Earlswood Carnival is back for the 7th year as a fundraising for Earlswood 2nd Reigate Scout Group. It's next Saturday, the 27th, at Woodlands Road Green between 2 and 5. It includes a mini garden competition for the kids and the Earlswood Carnival, powered by Eco Earlswood. You can make a garden on a plate or a tray out of Lego, Play-Doh, plants, fairies, dragons, and bring it along to the carnival. And also, it's going to be judged by, checks notes, Peter, that's a good name, isn't it, Peter? From the Planet Reigate. Oh, that'll be me then. Yeah, I'm going to be down there doing some of the judging, and all entrants are going to get some sunflower seeds, and there's going to be some prizes and all sorts of fun and games and activities. And you know what? I'm sure there's going to be kind of jumping about, and there's going to be things to put in your mouth as well. All sorts of food and drink and games and fun to be had. And that's happening at the Earlswood Carnival, the 7th year that's been going on. Congratulations to them. Saturday the 27th, Woodlands Road Green, between 2 and 5. Also Saturday the 27th, Reigate Heath Walk is going on, organised by Robert, 07967 002 126. You park in the car park either side of Flanchford Road, you walk to Betchworth and then alongside the River Mole and back via Rice Bridge. Fairly flat walk, it seems to me. Circular walk, which are always the best ones. Start at 10, finish at 1, round about 6 miles. Sounds good, dog friendly as well. And that concludes the weekday roundup. Looking forward to next weekend as well on the Planet Reigate podcast. I'm Peter Stewart. Thanks for the loan of your ears. We've got travel and weather together. Take a look at the jobs as well. Also, Hidden Treasure from Julie at the Children's Trust, Bell Street in Reigate. And before we go, at the end of the show, natural sounds from a place you know, this week featuring Priory Park. And I took a walk in the woods in Priory Park one evening. It was just kind of sunset a couple of months ago. It was in February, walking the dog, and I thought the birds in the trees were absolutely magnificent, and you'll be able to hear them, maybe the panting of the dog I was walking at the time in the background as well, but mainly the birds as we go to Priory Park for our 60-second soundscape at the end of the show.
Planet Reigate is the North Downs Way and the Pilgrim's Way. And this is the Planet Reigate podcast.
And the voice you're listening to belongs to me, Peter Stewart. We've got so much more in our archived shows as well with the Planet Reigate podcast. If you fancy joining a new choir, Ailsa and Velvet belong to the Reigate and Redhill Choral Society, and they would love to see you there as well. Hear them talk to us in episode 10 of the Planet Reigate podcast. Or if you're less into singing songs and more into talking business, hear the stories of all the winners of the 2023 Reigate and Banstead Business Awards in episode 11. And you'll find those episodes on our page on your favourite podcast app.
Planet Reigate Stars, thanking local heroes who are out of this world.
OK, let's sprinkle a little bit of stardust on a local hero. Please remember to subscribe to the show so you don't miss an episode of the whole Planet Reigate podcast, and also our Planet Reigate Stars each and every week. Got a notification here. Hello, I lost my brown leather wallet in Reigate. It had all my bank cards in, my driver's licence and personal photos. It was an upsetting experience, but made better by the kindness of the Everyman Cinema manager, Freddie, who was very kind to my daughter and I. Freddie, you get a Planet Reigate Star Award. Now, last week on the show, I mentioned how Jez Dutfield from Reigate, who's a subcontractor for Surrey Fire and Rescue Service, was walking last Saturday from Purley Fire Station to a pub near Brighton Pier, together with more than a dozen firefighters, to raise money for the Firefighters Charity. Well, incredible work. They raised £5,000, walking in full gear and breathing apparatus as well, walking 55 miles in memory of Jez's brother. So congratulations to them. They get another Planet Reigate Star Awards on the Planet Reigate podcast. Now, last week, the man behind new music events being held locally. So if you're an unpublished singer-songwriter or you enjoy a night that's not just cover bands, then listen out for that. And Tim also told us about the new Reigate Summer Festival as well. Yeah. Have you heard about the Reigate Summer Festival? If you're thinking, no, I haven't, well, go back and listen to last week's episode and you'll be appraised, fully appraised, as to the situation there. Have you been to the new cafe at Priory Park yet? It's been a while in coming, hasn't it? But opened last week, and a couple of weeks ago now, and last week we heard from the woman behind it. And if you're a fan of the Alice in Wonderland books, you could get to see a little bit of history. A new exhibition is on locally. I've been to speak to the man who's running it, and you can hear our conversation in last week's show. Now, have you ever thought about a podcast for your charity or cause or business or interest? You know, podcasts don't have to be public. You can have them secure so they're only heard by your staff or your subscribers. And it could be an interesting alternative to a staff newsletter because colleagues will hear managers or co-workers talking rather than just reading it. Okay, hello at the Planet Reigate podcast if you'd like me to be involved in your production of your very first podcast. Coming soon, we've got local travel and weather and treasure together. Travel news, that's local major roadworks. And we give you a heads up so you avoid the hold-ups and look back at local recent weather stats and the forecast for the week ahead. And hidden treasure, the best bargain they've put aside for us to have mentioned at the Children's Trust, Bell Street in Reigate this week. Now, where do you think the very best places are locally to go for a drink? Okay, put that in a circle on a Venn diagram, all right? Where do you think the best places are locally to see bluebells? Yeah? Put that in another circle on a Venn diagram. And now in your mind, combine those two circles. Yeah, they're getting closer. They're getting closer. Okay, they've met and they're overlapping a little bit. Okay, stop about there. Okay, that's fine. And in that intersection, what you've got, a great bluebell woods within walking distance of a pub. What could be better than that? We've got a special report from Rachel in a few moments' time on the Planet Reigate podcast. Here's our second news sequence, and we've got jobs on the way and travel and weather together and the hidden treasure and the 60-second soundscape before we go at the end of the show. First of all, Reigate Business Guild lit a pick in the town last Sunday. Mentioned this in last week's edition of the show. That went really well, and their next litter picks take place on Sunday the 7th of July and Sunday the 6th of October, so you can make a note in your diary for those. From the Reigate Business Guild to the Redhill one, they've got a new website with details of their work, their networking, and an amazing group of members who support the town. And very pleased to say that the Planet Reigate podcast are members of the Redhill Business Guild, thanks indeed to the Belfry Shopping Centre in Redhill. Also this week, we've got this message in from our friends over at the Vine King.
Hi, Eric from the Vine King here, and very exciting news because next Thursday, the 25th of April, we are going to be reopening in Reigate the Vine King tasting rooms. Yes, and even more exciting is this machine is going to be back in use with these lovely little cards. So you can come and get a card, charge it up, pop it in the machine, and help yourself to some delicious glasses of wine. Plus, we're going to have some amazing fizz by the glass. We'll still be doing a few cocktails, fabulous cheeses, great meats. The toasties are back. It's going to be amazing. So come along and see us, and all details are on the website as well too, thevineking.com. See you soon.
Reigate and Banstead Borough Council have put up new bird boxes at Redhill Common in time for the return of migratory birds, so swifts and chiffchaffs are likely to be there on Redhill Common over the coming months. I remember, I may have mentioned this before, walking over Redhill Common when I used to live. My first flat was not too far away on Brook Road in Redhill. And I remember doing some revision for a marketing course that I was doing at Redhill East Surrey College. And I remember walking over Redhill Common, revising and talking out loud, you know, as you do with a handful of notes and things, talking out loud, trying to get these facts and figures and concepts and so on into my head. So I've always got a love for Redhill Common because that was the place where I learnt my marketing and communications and advertising for my course there at East Surrey College. From birds to fish, and Rachel from Eco Earlswood was walking around Earlswood Lakes in the week, and she posted that she saw floating bales of barley straw on the lower lake, and they were put in there by the Environment Agency. And she pointed out that the idea is that as they sink, I didn't know this, as they sink, they decompose to oxygenate the water, suppress the algae, and improve the water quality for the wildlife, which I thought was really interesting and worth passing on in case you've been walking around that area and thought, what's all that rubbish? Who's dumped a whole load of, what's going on there? Now you know. If you're looking for a rewarding way to give back to your community, East Surrey Hospital is after a couple of people to join them as volunteers for their Community Fridge initiative. So that's where extra food can be donated and then collected by anyone, otherwise that food would just go to waste. So there's no restriction on the amount of food anyone can take from the fridge, but obviously you only take what you need. They're not food banks. You don't have to register or sign up to use them or anything like that, but they're after some volunteers, first of all, to collect some of the food that's been donated by Sainsbury's and Pret and Gales and Lidl and Aldi and Sainsbury's East Grinstead as well, because obviously they've got to be taken, pretty swift, obviously, and then put in the fridge at East Surrey Hospital. So can you get involved with that? I'll give you details in a few moments' time. And also they need someone to regularly clean out the fridge and indeed a freezer as well. Check the temperature, clear it out, get rid of the old stuff that hasn't actually gone, and give it a quick disinfect and so on. Put the new stuff back in. You get the idea. If you'd like to volunteer, sash at volunteers@nhs.net. Sash, S-A-S-H, sash at volunteers@nhs.net if you want some more information on that one. George says we're looking for knitters who like to have a natter. Pop into the Light, Redhill, because they want to set up a knitting/crochet club for people to join and show off their skills. Are you interested? Are you a knitter? Are you a natterer? Get in touch with George if you want some more information on that. Send an email to me or contact me in one of the usual ways and I'll pass on his details to you.
Email hello@theplanetreigate.podcast.com.
This summer, the return to Reigate Castle grounds for outdoor theatre. Romeo and Juliet on Wednesday the 26th of June. 5 Children and It on the 28th of August. A Midsummer Night's Dream on the 28th of August as well. As You Like It on the 4th of September. The Gondoliers, Gilbert and Sullivan, isn't it? On the 7th of September. More information, harlequintheatre.co.uk. Talking of theatre and so on, congratulations to Jude from Dunottar School. Now, Jude has been auditioning for the West End Calling competition this year, and he's now a semi-finalist. West End Calling is a nationwide competition for aspiring musical theatre performers, and Jude successfully sang his way through 2 heats, all under the expert guidance of Mrs. Dan. So, Jude, we wish you the best of luck for the national semi-finals, which take place at the beginning of May. We've got our fingers and our toes crossed for you. And finally, just ahead of our special Bluebell report, blooms and bakes in Reigate's cage yard this week. Oh dear, someone over-ordered ever so slightly on the sausage rolls. Did you see this? So they were forced into having a buy one, get one free on all of their sausage rolls last Tuesday. Well, it's an ill wind that blows no good, isn't it? Now, I don't know whether you follow Eco Earlswood on various social media platforms. Well, Rachel is the lady behind it, and she published this week a list of the very best places to see bluebells locally, and the twist being they're all within easy walking distance of local pubs. And I was enthralled by this list. I thought it was absolutely fantastic, and there's a little video to go with it as well. So I got in touch with Rachel and said, you couldn't actually kind of voice this up for me, could you, for a special report on the Planet Reigate podcast? And seriously, within minutes, it was returned like this. So make a note of these locations and the pubs as well, and I may see you at one of them sometime in the next few days. Catch those bluebells before they disappear. and catch those pints before they get too warm.
It's Rachel from Eco Earlswood. If you don't know me, I'm obsessed with all things local. Like taking a woodland walk to admire the beautiful bluebells, but popping by a local pub too. The bluebells are out in an abundance at the moment in East Surrey. Here are my top 5 locations to get your bluebell and pub fix. Number 1. Buckland Park Lake and the Pheasant Pub. Whilst there is a payment to access the Buckland Reservoir, you do get your money's worth, and the pub is conveniently next door. Number 2. Redhill Common and the Garibaldi Pub. These woodlands have a bit of a climb, but the view from the top is well worth it, and the community pub is directly opposite the common. Number 3. Gatton Park and a bit of an amble up the road, the Feathers Pub in Merstham. If you access Gatton Park via Reigate Hill, it is a lovely circular walk. Number 4. Harwood National Trust and Outward with the Bell Pub. Often described as a hidden woodland, this is definitely one to explore. And the Bell Pub is on the other side of the road. Number 5. Earlswood Common and the Joshua Tree Pub. Another excellent circular walk if you park at Earlswood Lakes and walk across the former golf course. Plus, added bonus, the Joshua Tree is also an Indian restaurant. Which walk and pub pairing would you add to the list?
What a terrific list from Rachel. We are very much indebted. Thank you so much indeed for providing that, the research and also the report as well. Really enjoyed listening to it. Rachel, thanks ever so much indeed. And if you would like to add something to the list, if you know of another secret wood with fantastic bluebells in it, then why don't you drop me a line?
Email hello@theplanetreigate.podcast.com.
Do remember, though, do not walk, please, on the bluebells. Stick to the paths, because bluebells are really ancient, aren't they, as I understand, how they grow, how they survive in wooded areas. They are really an ancient flower, and it's really important not to trample them down or to pick them or anything like that, but they are fantastic. And just outside our area, a couple of years ago, I remember we went over to a woodland on the Hatchlands estate just outside Guildford. And that's fantastic. A National Trust property, as you probably know. And they had some fantastic bluebells there. And walking around the woods, taking photographs, and the sun coming through the trees, it was really quite magical. It was a lovely hour or so in that woodlands. Of course, I don't go over to Hatchlands anymore because of the dragons. You know, obviously you've got to be very wary. I just stick to the Planet Reigate area. Otherwise, you don't. In our jobs news this week, just ahead of travel and weather together, a chef, a cook is required for the Skim. Yeah, they're looking for someone passionate about cooking to work in their busy, independent, family-run pub kitchen. Part or full-time, flexible hours with weekend hours required. Excellent rates of pay. It's not a live-in position, but if you want some more information, info@skimmingtoncastle.co.uk 01737 243100, or I guess just pop in and, what you could do is pop in and sample their fare while you're there. That would be quite a good idea, actually, wouldn't it? Planet Reigate travel news. We give you the heads up so you can avoid the hold-ups. The M25 will be shut for a full weekend for the second time this year as work on the £317 million Junction 10 improvement scheme continues. So, the motorway is going to be shut between Junction 9 for Leatherhead and 10 for Wisley from 9 p.m. Friday the 10th of May to 6 a.m. Monday the 13th of May. Diversion route, if you're going from our neck of the woods towards Heathrow, then you'd leave the M25 at Reigate, 217 towards Sutton, and then you're going to go left down the 240 into Epsom, down to the Esso roundabout, right onto the A24 to Kingston, and then left onto the A3 Portsmouth Road, and then continue for 9.5 miles to the M25 and rejoin the motorway at Junction 10. Boy, oh boy, that's a journey and a half. Stay at home or just go south or go east instead. Stay at home in the Planet Reigate area, you know it makes sense. The third closure of the M25 there is going to be announced soon. And ongoing roadworks in Reigate, Dover's Green Road, Cockshot Hill and Prices Lane until October, Redhill, Earlsbrook Road till December, Salford's West Avenue until October, Slipshatch Road in Reigate, two-way lights for the installation of Grasscrete for the next couple of weeks. Spoke about what Grasscrete was in last week's show. Cross Oak Lane in Salford's resurfacing works until Thursday the 25th. Quite a bit of water main work going on. Merrywood Park in Reigate, Common Road in Redhill and Earlsbrook Road in Redhill as well. Russhill Road in Charlwood is going to be closed for the next couple of weeks while more water main work is going on. That's through until April the 25th. And also, quick heads up here, Russhill Road is going to be closed for 7 weeks from the 6th of May for essential gas repairs. So that's going to be going on until June the 28th. And this, Horsehill Road in Hookwood, that's Reigate Road, the A217 to Irons Bottom, is going to be closed for resurfacing work Wednesday the 24th of April for 5 days, 8 in the morning till 6 at night. And the cheapest local petrol in the Planet Reigate area at time of recording, 142.9 for a litre of unleaded at Tesco at Hookwood. Planet Reigate area weather, courtesy of Professor Weather, his own weather station in the Planet Reigate area. It comes through now. Here we go. Taking a look at this. It's been very windy, hasn't it? And the professor says that he recorded the strongest April wind gust in Reigate on Monday, 49.6 miles an hour. He says that beat the previous high of 43.4 miles an hour. It was also the 4th highest for all the months of the year ever. Well, as far as his records go. I mean, you know, there was that great storm, the great hurricane, wasn't there? I think that was probably before the professor was a professor. I think that's probably what. Saturday and Sunday are expected to see cloud move in from the northeast, bringing a small chance of a few isolated light showers, mainly on Sunday. Cloud may break up to reveal some brightness, mainly in the early morning and through the evening. Increasing winds on Sunday again, and Monday looks to remain breezy with spells of sunshine and a chance of a few scattered showers. Jobs, travel, weather and treasure together on the Planet Reigate podcast.
Hidden treasure on the Planet Reigate podcast.
This week's hidden treasure item is from Osprey, London, and it says on the dust cover bag by Graham Elliston. So ospreylondon.com, that's the place to go and have a look, and you'll see the full range of their products. Sometimes you find an outlet, but quite often they're featured in a lot of boutique shops and high-end shops. Beautiful leather handbag then. It measures just over 30 centimetres across at the base. Width is 17 centimetres. It's just over 30 centimetres high. It is a bag that you'd be able to pop over your shoulder and sit very comfortably under your armpit, and equally it comes with a stunning shoulder handle which is removable with little gold clasps. Now this bag is beautiful, patterned in terms of just in the leather, black on the outside and a stunning red on the inside. It has a drawstring closure for it, so that's a bit of extra security, but the fact you can pop it up over your arm and under your shoulder makes it very usable. Great for dressing up an outfit, but actually would complement any outfit that you're wearing. So we're asking £45 for this bag. I think it's, a real bargain. Somebody's going to love it and actually enjoy using it. If you'd paid the original sort of £150 or so for this, even in the outlet store, you might be a bit worried about using it. So I'm hoping we can rehome this while supporting children with brain injury and their families on behalf of the Children's Trust.
This is the Planet Reigate podcast.
Thank you for the loan of your ears for episode 32. In episode 33...
Next week on the Planet Reigate podcast.
Yeah, the local sports club that's a real community and family club. I mentioned them a little bit earlier on in the show. I've been down to have start of season chat with several members of Merstham Cricket Club about what they do, and it's not just cricket. We hear from one of the top men at local estate agents, White & Son. You know what? They've been around for a while. Not Andrew Farrant, who's my guest, but the business. Yeah, in fact, they're one of the oldest estate agents in the whole of the country. They're more than 100 years old. In fact, they're more than 200 years old. They started back in 1817. So as you can imagine, they're a little bit of history in the Planet Reigate area, and together we'll hear the changes there have been in where we live and how we live our lives. Plus, we continue our story of the man who built the High Trees estate. Dunottar School is in it now, but back in the day it was a private home. More about the person who lived there and how he came to be one of the great and good in local society, despite a shocking scandal that happened right here in town. That and a whole host of other features and stories you've come to know and love from places you love and people you know. But first of all, there's something to finish the show with, isn't there?
The 60-second soundscape. Local natural sounds, uninterrupted.
Yeah, before we go at the end of the show, natural sounds from a place you know. And today we're travelling to Priory Park in Reigate. It's sunset on a February afternoon.